So we're talking about this homework assignment right here. There's the URL to it. Use Bufio new scanner to read some text, so you can check out that URL. And it takes us to this place, the Go Playground. So maybe that one's easier to enter. And then here's the code. And then here we have a constant, which is a string. So we use strings new reader, and we give it that string. And strings new reader, godoc.org/strings. That gives us this, right? So we pass in a string, and it returns a pointer to a reader. With a pointer to a reader, we have all of these variables available. One of these variables is this one right here, slice of byte int air. So if we remember from godoc.org/io, we have type reader, and it's an interface slice of byte int air. So because this has slice of byte int air, it also implements the reader interface. So new reader takes a string and allows it to implement the read interface. Sorry, the reader interface. And Bufio new scanner takes in a reader, right? So since this thing, when we do new reader and give it a string, gives us pointer to reader, and since it has this method, that means it implements the reader interface. So whatever that returns, strings new reader is going to run and return right here. And what it returns is a pointer to a reader. Well, we could put that right there because a pointer to a reader implements the reader interface, and Bufio new scanner wants something that implements the reader interface. So I want you to just kind of see how that works, like just so you could read the code. Reading the code is the first step towards writing the code. So I want you to see how that works, Bufio new scanner. And when we get a Bufio new scanner, gives us a pointer to a scanner. And then we read through this before. When we have a pointer to a scanner, returns a new scanner. The split function defaults to scan lines. And so type scanner, right? New scanner returns a pointer to a scanner. Pointer to a scanner is type scanner. Provides convenient interface for reading data. So it's a way to read data, such as a file of new line delimited lines of text. Successive calls to scan will step through the tokens of a file, skipping the bytes between the tokens. To specify tokens defined by the split function, the default split function breaks into lines, but you could also choose other ones. So we get a new scanner, and then we do scanner.split, and from Bufio we pass in scan words. So Bufio scan words, right? It's a function. So Bufio scan words gets passed into scanner split, and scanner split wants a split func, and a split func is something with slice of byte bool int slice of byte air. So we have slice of byte bool int slice of byte air. So we don't have to write this code, but we need to kind of see how it's connected. Now it's all about type and making sure we're passing in the right type. So here we're now telling it to split on words, and then scanner scan is it's gonna loop until, and it'll return false when there's no more tokens. So it's going to loop over every word, and then it'll increment count each iteration of the loop, and then we print out count, check for an error, and print out count. So just be able to read that. And you could just copy paste this code and submit it as your code for that assignment, but It's an exercise in knowing the documentation, and that's important, getting familiar with how all these things plug and play together.